Talk about it with Franjez. Today's special guest is a recording artist, a songwriter, producer, director, actor. The list goes on. Today's guest is Westchester's very own 9-7 PTA.
What's going on, everybody? How we living? How you doing, man?
Absolutely. I'm doing well, man. Thank you for coming through.
Of course, man. It's an honor. It's an honor. I was very impressed with everything you got going on here. So I just wanted to touch base and get to know you and stuff. You know?
I appreciate that. Let's do it. Let's get to know you too.
Yes, sir. Let's
start off with a little wellness check. How you doing it today?
I'm good, man. I'm a little bit tired today. I had a birthday yesterday, so I had a bunch of people over and all that good stuff. So
happy belated birthday.
Thank you. I'm feeling the repercussions today a little bit, but I'm doing all right today, nice. Man. I'm doing all right.
I like that. All right, since we already started with birthday, where were you born?
I was born in the beautiful, beautiful city of Ossining, New York. Actually, I was born in Mount Kisco, but that's, I was born and raised in Ossining, New York, born in the some Mount Kisco hospital, and my parents brought me home, and then I was just sort of chilling in Ossining for a bit, just hanging out as a baby, just trying to figure out life as a baby, and had some guidance, and it's been born and raised Ossining, New York, Westchester County native, man.
What kind of kid were you? What were you into?
Man, what kind of kid was I? I feel like I was definitely I was definitely attracted to the arts. My dad was a big Beatles head. He loved the band The Beatles, and my mom grew up loving David Bowie and all that, so they were always playing some cool, creative, artistic stuff, and my dad would show me Beatles videos, and I'd be tapping on the couch, playing drums along to it. And they were like, "This kid's gonna be a genius." I was like, I'm just playing the rhythm. I'm just playing the rhythm. I said that as a baby, even. No, but I was literally just I was just hanging out, just enjoying the music, and I, gravitated towards watching TV shows. I watching cartoons, reading Garfield comic books, Calvin and Hobbes comic books. And just really kind of took a liking to writing and illustrating and just making stuff, which has since been a very pivotal part of, I guess, well into my life,
That's what I always ask about the childhood, because that's usually what you really like.
It leads you to the breadcrumbs. It's following the trail of breadcrumbs to who you are today. That one Calvin and Hobbes book could have changed my entire life if I had never read that Calvin and Hobbes book. Who knows where I'd be now, man?
100%. I've been saying that lately. Life is one big domino effect.
Yeah.
Literally every decision matters.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the small domino to huge domino meme. You've seen that?
Exactly. Just like that. Yeah, every time I see the domino I'm talking about, it's bigger than me. It's one you got to push bigger. Down. Yeah. So 6 albums, is it?
Yeah, so it's 5 main albums, and then 1 beat tape that I dropped I think 2 years ago in 2023. It was just some beats that I had when I was recording my 3rd tape, How Does It Feel to Be Lost, that I did not do anything with. So I just put them out and was like, hey, have this while I'm working on this bigger project, which would be Still Outside, came out last year. And then I just yesterday released my 5th independently released and produced project, 27 Club.
You say it's your first independently produced?
Nah, I might have misworded that. I'm so bad at podcasts.
You can't do wrong here.
Nah,
There's no wrong
kidding.
here.
I've independently released all my music. I've pretty much executively produced all my own music. I came up starting making instrumentals, and then I decided I wanted to, add lyrics and write songs to them. So
let's break it down from the beginning. So how'd the first time you wrote or anything start? How that process, and what age was that?
Yeah, so I was, it's very funny. We're talking about the breadcrumbs to what would be, it all started when I got a MacBook when I was way too young. I was in 3rd grade with a whole computer. So when people are making fun of the iPad kids now, your kid should not have an iPad, I'm like, it's okay.
It's different though. A desktop or a laptop is much different from the tablet. Literally, you could take the tablet anywhere.
Exactly.
Laptop's a little different.
And also, those kids are playing Subway Surfers and they're on TikTok.
Yeah.
I was on GarageBand cooking, dude. I was cooking on GarageBand. I found that little application GarageBand, and I would just take the pre-made loops and make little songs. And they were all horrible Eminem ripoffs. But my mom was listening to that when I was like, when we would drive around. She was a big M head, so I listened to like Slim Shady LP where he's like talking about like all this like killing his wife with his kid. And now I wonder why I gravitate towards such weird, dark stuff, and it's probably because I've been
Absolutely
thrown into the realm of that from a young age. But so I started on GarageBand, and then later on I would pick up learning musical instruments, watching people like Brian Sella from the Front Bottoms play. I would watch the Pixies play, and I'd be like, I want to learn how to play an instrument. This is like in high school or something. And so
at this point, you've been recording, but just these Eminem type songs.
Yeah, like
privately, you haven't released anything.
No, I never released independent music until 2018.
So what did you do with the music? Did you let your friends hear it? Mom, anybody?
I kept that on tuck,
All
dude.
Right. It was embarrassing.
I think I was aura farming from a very young age, dude. I was teasing music and then never releasing it. Like they say, like, oh, he's so mysterious, but I was doing that in like 4th grade. I was beating a lot of people to that. But basically I would just like make these songs and then just like go be a 4th grader. And then I was introduced to in high school, they had this program called Give Me the Mic, which was basically a music performance class. So every week you would come and you'd show them a song that you were working on. Either the teacher would play it or you and a group of, whatever band you're working with would play the song with you. And so I took that class my sophomore year of high school. I was doing like Elliott Smith and like Weezer and all of that. And then eventually that led to me going into college and being, in high school having a band, and in college also having a band. But then
in high school, you were recording the music with the band and releasing it?
We weren't really recording. Like a lot of it was just like word of mouth, like we would rehearse and then just do a show and then just like never record any music. It was a lot of just like in the moment live stuff, which is why I think I like gravitate towards live performance so much. But essentially, like, this was before the age of like, at least to our knowledge, this was before the age of like DistroKid and like TuneCore, at least to what we understood it as. So to like release music would require us to be...
It's like SoundCloud before TuneCore and all that stuff, right? With SoundCloud.
That is true, yeah, man. But like, I don't know. I think we had a few just like demos. My friend Evan, who went by 7-Eleven, had some stuff on like Bandcamp and SoundCloud and all that. But like, I feel like we just didn't like want to put in the effort to like sit down and record music. You know what I mean? We were just like, whatever.
Enjoying it. You were just enjoying it.
Yeah, we were just having a good old fashioned little run around with it. But then come college, I took a MIDI in music production course because I was I majored in audio technology. So you had to take this course, MIDI in music, which taught you how to use Reason and Ableton. Propellerhead's Reason is kind of a slept on like DAW. That's the one that I use. And so I kind of like relearned how to produce music digitally, like from the days of being on GarageBand and all that as a kid. And now I picked it up again in like college. And so now that I know how to make beats and like do all of it myself instead of having to like get all my friends together and rehearse and all that, I've started to make music that was sort of more in line with the stuff that I was listening to in my early high school, early college years, which was like stuff I grew up on, like, like Kanye West and like Tyler the Creator, A$AP Rocky, like a lot of cloud rap stuff. And some like creative like soul sample type music like Alchemist and like Cool Kids and all that, Earl Sweat. And I was just learning how to make beats like that. And then I was like, oh, you know what? Like, honestly, making music like this is kind of like way more fun than being in a band. Like, to me personally, because there's all the...
It's more personal, maybe? It's
more personal. It's if there's something very gratifying, I feel like, about being able to do things, being like a virtuoso about like, making your beat, recording your song, mixing and mastering it. It can be very stressful, which I will give it that. It's a very stressful process, but there's something very gratifying at the end when you get the end product and you're like, this is what I wanted it to be the whole time. And I just started churning out music. Early on, I got some mixing and mastering and filming assistance from my friend Dylan. And then COVID hit, and then I just started doing everything by myself, more or less, besides videography, which I'd go to Gianni Mogrovejo and Peter Terracone 4. Very talented cinematographers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It was a very long-winded answer.
No. I love it because I want to dig into everything.
Of course.
So you're in school.
Yes.
You're making music in college.
Yes.
Okay. In school, or you're also doing it at home?
I'm doing it in school and at home. I asked for Reason for Christmas when I was in college, and I got it. So the stuff that I was making, like, I would go into class, and like during lunch or like periods that I wasn't like in a class, I would literally just like go to the music room, get on their computer, and start making like beats on like the big silly like keyboard that they had there. So I would just plug it in and just start making beats. And a lot of the beats that I made on my first tape are stuff that I made at school. Like, it's all it's pretty cool.
Death to Cinema?
Death of Cinema, yeah. That was my
That
first
was your
tape.
recording at school, the album?
Yeah, a lot of the beats were made at school, but a lot of the recording, I had Logic Pro on my my laptop, so I would just go home and make stuff on Logic and just export all the stems and then send them to my own email and then record with all the stems in Logic Pro, if that makes any sense.
Hell yeah, it does.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how did your name come about?
So 97 PTA is an alias. Well, truth be told, it used to be like my Twitter handle. Like the number 97 PTA was like my Twitter handle, and I named it that because in high school I saw a movie called Boogie Nights, which was a 1997 film by a director, Paul Thomas Anderson. PTA is who he goes by.
Nice.
It's like 97 PTA because Boogie Nights was a very formative movie to me when it came to creating, because I was in high school. Like, we were about to go to college. I felt like I had no direction in my life whatsoever. I was just like writing music and not recording it and not making any videos. I was literally just going to school and messing around, like in high school, senior year at this point. But then I watched Boogie Nights, and I'm like, I really feel like I want to make something that blends cinema and like music in a sort of way that makes it feel like one big cohesive experience. Because like the way that movie blended like the soundtrack with the stuff that was going on in the movie was like nuts. And I was like, this is the kind of thing that I want to like strive to do, like the sort of greatness that I strive to, accomplish,
Yeah, you have dreams of making a full form film, full feature?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. It's so much money, and like getting so many people on board is such a hassle, but I love doing like skits and like little, promotional things for projects, like making it like a whole opportunity to not just utilize music as the core thing that I'm putting on display, but also like my like desires to make films and make movies and whatnot. Like, I love directing and editing movies. It's like my favorite thing to do.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, so the 27 Club one.
Yeah.
The funniest part of it, the guy that's interviewing you, he said his kid is like 18. He looks like he's 18. I'm like, come on.
I know. It's funny. Yeah, Fernando, dude. Shout out Omniscient Studios. Shout out Fernando. I went to high school with him. Apparently, like, well, not apparently. I know he went to high school, but we went to high school. He was like 2 years younger than I, which is why it was funny that he was like telling me about his kid. Like, he just does not have a kid in real life.
And that old, I'm like, wow, that's a stretch.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's comedy to it, so I guess that's part of the comedy.
You gotta suspend your disbelief a little bit. You know what I mean?
I like that.
But yeah, Fernando, great artist, great. He runs a studio production company that does artist interviews just much like this, and I did that one recently.
Nice.
And I featured him on 27 Club, and then I was like, hey man, like, I'm doing a bit about a hiring manager that's dealing with an old head that's acting young because he can't come to gripes with the fact that he's aging. Can you be the hiring manager? And he's like, I haven't acted in like a long time, man, but like, sure. And he killed it, man. He actually crushed it.
He did good.
It's so funny. Yeah, I definitely look substantially older than it, which I guess adds to the comedy of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just saw it all as part of the comedy. Who are your top 5 favorite artists?
Man, it always comes down to this question, doesn't it? All right. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say Kanye West is very up there with what he's got going on in his life now. I feel quite
Did you see the interview that dropped today?
where he
Him
was
on
in the
Academics?
where he was in the all black Ku Klux Klan thing. Yeah, so after I say that, yeah, Kanye West is one of my favorite artists. I'm saying I do not back the man's. I don't listen to his music anymore, but like he was absolutely massively formative to my journey as an artist. And
what era would you say? What albums or anything?
I mean, my first song 2500 I made like with the goal of making a Kid See Ghosts type beat. Like I was envisioning like Kid Cudi and like these like boom bap drums on like these like ethereal synths, and I was like, this could be like some Kid See Ghosts type song, and sort of like delivered it like Cudi. I mean, you know, I like besides the recent stuff, like I'd say like the Dark Twisted Fantasy 2018 run that Kanye was on is like so.
My Dark Twisted Fantasy is definitely number one.
It's got to be. It's like so. I mean, 808s is super underrated too.
I'd say that's number 2.
Yeah, it's such an underrated album. Definitely Kanye. I would put a band called Built to Spill up there. They're like a alternative rock group from the Northwest region. I think Boise, Idaho is where they come from. Their ear for melody was like very Neil Young inspired, like noisy grunge. Like it was just music that like when I was like, I heard them like senior year of high school. It just felt like Doug, the leader of that band, like his ear for melody is so like so in line with what I look for in music. Like he uses a lot of the same like keys that I like and a lot of the same chord progressions that I like, and just like it just felt like music that spoke to me at such a pivotal point of my life, and sort of in line with like when I started to make 9/7 PTA. Like I started to materialize it in my head from a like senior year of high school. But yeah, man. So definitely Built to Spill, Kanye. I would put I guess this is, I gotta think about this. This is definitely a
If you want, we could come back to it. You dropped 2 so far.
Nah,
Take
well, you know
your time
what?
on the other 3.
I'll give you 3. I'll give you Michael Jackson. Like Mike, I'll go on record. I think Mike is like maybe the best recording artist of all time.
Performer too.
Unreal performer.
Yeah.
Like him, James Brown, and like Little Richard, all of those guys from that era are so. There's such a charisma and just like goofiness to like
Performing live, dancing, sweating, out of breath, still performing live.
Absolutely. It's so like charismatic. I love the clip of Mike when he comes up on that one tour. It was kind of late in his career, but he's just standing there and everybody's losing their shit. Have you seen that clip? It's
Of course,
so
yeah.
cool, dude.
Yeah.
Mike's music, even like the Jackson 5 stuff, man, like he has this one cover of, oh, you know what? This is the next one I'll say after, but he has a cover of Stevie's one of my favorite artists. I'd give him number 4.
Okay.
Stevie Wonder, definitely a huge inspiration melodically. I think he's one of the best artists of all time. And then number 5, this is like a funny one, like it in terms of like the realm of people that I have, but I'm going Boldy James, dude. Boldy James from Griselda. I just love that guy's music so much. He releases like 12 projects a year, and like
wow, I didn't even know that.
He's so fire. His stuff with Nick Craven, a Montreal producer, and of course his stuff with Alchemist is like it just scratches the little itch in my brain. Like soul sample and just like deep cold delivery is like some of my favorite stuff to listen to.
Nice.
So like I feel like the top 5 I gave you is kind of in line with like pretty much the perfect mix of things that I like in music, more or less.
How would you describe your music?
My music is a sort of a sprawling. It is many things and also sort of the same thing.
It really
you know,
is.
it's many things and the same thing all at once. I like to make music that
The same thing as you. You're the common denominator. It's all your sound.
That was absolutely what I was gonna say, man. You nailed it. This guy's great, man. I don't even need to be here. He can just give you the biopic or the biography.
I like that.
Yeah. So, definitely like what you were saying is that I'm the common denominator, but the Sonics transition, like like one song, like speaking on 27 Club, like first song, heavy soul sample. By track 3, you're on like a funk beat. By track 5, you're on like that like Boldy James, Nick Craven's like lo-fi soul sample type stuff again. but I want the narrative, regardless of the delivery, to be sort of the same. Like, I've always wanted my music to be like, you walk away from it knowing who I am as a person when you're done listening to like a project. Like, oh, this guy is going through this in his life, and in order to deal with that, he's making music that's kind of stream of conscience, you know, like just like flowing freely. It's not really abiding by any rules. I feel like my favorite music that I make is like the one where it's just sort of all over the place, because by design, I guess I'm like sort of all over the place, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the structure is sometimes too much structure takes away from the artistry.
Yeah, I feel like if you're making an album, and this is not to dig on anybody who like has a very cohesive sound, but like me personally, I can't sit down and make an album that sounds like the same song front to back. Like, I need to like divvy it up, because if I don't experiment, then like I'm not gonna have any fun doing it. You know what I mean?
And that's the most important part.
Exactly. I love experimenting. I love trying new things. I like using my voice differently. I like using beats differently. I like using it as a vessel for therapy, and then a vessel to just have a good old hootin' tootin' time, dude.
Hell yeah. I like that. What's your writing process?
My writing, so early on, I would do a lot of like, you know, like the early, you know, MC, like, you know, Kendrick says he like writes in a notebook, and then he has to hear the right beat and match that. But a lot of what I do is just, it's always in the production process first. I usually make a beat before I write any lyrics, and like I just sort of figure out the pocket that I want to go for as the song envelops. Recently, a lot of sort of semi-miraculous things have been happening. Like on the song that was playing when I walked in, I'm a Man of No Explanation. That song came to me in a dream, actually. It's a pretty cool story. Like, I had this dream that I was with my dad and my stepmom and my mom at my apartment, and we were listening to this Stevie Wonder song, and I remember the melody really distinctly, and he was just going, I am a man, not worth explanation, or something like that. And then I remember being like in this dream, this is a great song. And so I look up on YouTube, and there's like a Family Guy clip of Stewie from Family Guy covering that song in an episode of Family Guy.
This is still in the dream.
This is still in the dream. And Stewie is playing the guitar, singing I'm a Man of No Explanation in the key of F minor. I remember it very specifically. And so I woke up from that dream, and I said, well, if I had such a vivid recollection of that song, and the fact that Family Guy referenced it, clearly that song has to like exist. And it didn't. The song did not exist at all. It was kind of like a Yesterday Paul McCartney sort of thing, where like he had the song in a dream and had to ask people, does this song exist? Now we have Google. So I literally just looked up Stevie Wonder, I'm a Man of No Explanation. And it did not exist. So it was...
You also should search the lyric, because the lyric could be a different artist.
You're absolutely right. Maybe I totally ripped that entire song up. Maybe I just
It's a different artist.
I might have outed myself as a plagiarist. If that's the case, I'm sorry. I'll run you your money.
You should just look it up just because if not, that's an amazing story.
Yeah, I do think that it's like an original thing, because at some point in the recording process, I did what I normally do and just sort of, I had the first line and then I just had to figure out the rest. Because all I remember from that Stevie Wonder song in my dream is, I am a man, not worth explanation. And then that was it. And then Stewie also saying that same line in the fucking Family Guy dream. But so I woke up, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, my roommate was not even awake yet. And I was in my room, like, tracking guitar, tracking strings.
Wow.
And he was just like, I thought it was like my neighbor listening to music, and I listen, I'm like, damn, Jay's cooking up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was like, dude, I feel like I have something special, so I needed to capitalize on it, you know?
If that song is original, which I hope it is, that's an amazing story. Yeah, for real. That's some real intuition right there.
Well, like Stevie Wonder's like evil cousin's gonna hit my DMs and be like, hey man, so I heard what you said about you thinking that's your song. That's actually my song. Yeah. Steven with a PH, Stephen Wonder. It's my name, and that's my song you ripped off.
For real, you never know.
Never know, dude.
I hope not, though, because that's like that. Like, if that were the song to hit like worldwide, like a smash, it just happens now.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sending it to like
if
radio
it's
stations.
That one, that'll be the most like most organic thing in the world. You were sleeping while the lyric came to you.
I know, it
That's deep.
just sort of materialized, man. Those are like some of my favorite songs, like that I make. Sort of, I've like, it's not the first one that came to me in a dream, but this is like one of my favorite ones that like I said like when I released the album, like I'm just at a point where music's not really in my blood anymore, and then I think about that story and I'm like, that's just not true. Like I have to have some sort of musical inclination if I can dream a Stevie Wonder song into existence. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Live shows. I saw you did a few, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So how do you go about those? Are you running the show, or are you signing up to shows? What type of shows are these?
Yeah, man. So a lot of it is just, as an independent artist, you just got to get your name out there.
Is it like open mic nights? What type of shows?
I do a few open mics every now and again, but I try to, like that's more so for just like me and like a few like an instrument, just chopping it up. But I'm more in like I try to like just reach out to venues like Mercury Lounge. We did once. Delancey we've done a few times, and just try to get your name out there as much as you can, because independent artists are not really at a place where like venues are reaching out to them. I don't even know if that's how touring works. It's like you as an artist need to send that email that you don't want to send, because you're like, oh, like I feel like I'm, early on for me, I felt like I was like begging to do shows because like I wanted to like formulate.
If you don't have a fan base, it's different, because I think when you do a tour,
Mm-hmm.
you find out what cities you have fans in.
That's absolutely right.
And then how many people you can fit in a room, then find the venue from there.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just doing stuff in like New York City, stuff that like friends or like casual fans, like stuff that's sort of, because a lot of my followers come from like New York and like the general vicinity. I did one show in Massachusetts that was so fun, dude. Nobody in that room knew who I was besides like 3 people, and that show was so fun, dude. Because one of my favorite things as an artist is like if you're opening for somebody, you need to like win the crowd over, and it's like a bit of an exercise. Like, am I good enough that like these people who've never heard of me in their life, they came to see this person, but now they have to see me because I'm opening. How do I win them over? And I've just loved the practice of like trying to convince an audience that like I'm good, like that my show is good and my music is good. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. 100%. Do you remember the first piece of music you either bought or downloaded for yourself?
Yeah, man. Oh, wow. Shit. I mean, I came from the iTunes age. First album I bought for myself, I want to say it was probably M, dude. Like, it was probably M, No.
Marshall Mathers LP?
Dude, look, say what you want about his music now, but that's a great, great album. That album's so good.
100%. He used to be my number one favorite artist. Of
Yeah,
all time.
man.
But then when he got sober, it's just music that I didn't love him for.
Yeah, he had
quality music, but it just wasn't what I went to him for.
Isn't it so unfortunate when an artist gets worse after they get sober? It's really a sad thing, man.
But is it worse? It's not worse. He's still amazing, but it's just not what we know him for. So it's like, that's not it.
He started doing a lot of like girl singing songs. You know what I mean? Like he had Skylar Grey on a lot of songs, which is fine. Like,
yeah, Rihanna on the hook.
But what I thought was interesting was that early on from M's career, like in his, I guess the 97 or 94-6, I forget when the first one came out, Slim Shady LP. His run from that album, Slim Shady LP, to Eminem show was like crazy.
Exactly.
But what I thought was interesting.
The drugs.
Yeah, it was the drugs, but he did have some of that girl singing stuff in like the song Superman, like DNA to like Superman. You could kind of see how gradually he would go on to make something like I Need a Doctor or Love the Way You Lie, which to me, I do not like those songs personally.
That's after he got sober, so I don't like the songs either.
Yeah, like dude, like in 6th grade, Recovery was like my favorite album. Or I think that was that album, right? The one with Not Afraid.
Yeah.
I was at baseball practice with the dangly earbuds in, listening to Not Afraid. I was mad at the world. So I was swinging the bat, dude. I was swinging the bat.
Yeah.
But I was missing. I was not doing good. And I was like in school, I'd listen to like Toy Soldiers, and like there was
Toy Soldiers great.
There was this kid in my class, Emmanuel, and he was talking to this girl Gina that I liked, and I was so upset about it that I flipped the table over, and I walked out. And I remember going into the bathroom, putting my earpods in, and listening to "Like Toy Soldiers" by Eminem.
And I thinking about going beating him up afterwards.
I just had to flip the table, man. I had to flip the table, and the only song that could bring me down was "Like Toy Soldiers" by Eminem, off of the album, I think Encore. Was that song on Encore?
I can't remember really.
Because that album's ass. That song is good though. I'm not gonna lie.
I love that song.
But yeah, it's probably gonna be M Slim Shady LP. I'm sorry, we had to talk about Eminem a little bit.
I'm always down.
You
to
got
talk
two
about
guys
Eminem.
with microphones talking about
that
hip hop.
love Eminem,
and one of them is white. Like you're gonna talk about Eminem at one point. So yeah, probably M. It might also be Fall Out Boy. I don't remember. It's probably something like that. I used to love Fall Out Boy.
What do you think is the next move to take? It's Encore.
It is Encore. Yeah. That's such a good song to have on that kind of lackluster album.
Yeah.
You know what? I like Just Lose It, where he's doing the...
It's too much. His goofy stuff, I was never...
He was just talking about Michael Jackson being a pedophile on that song. Like, that's like insane. And it was like kind of a hit. Like...
It's crazy.
It's a bizarre human being. Marshall Mathers is they need to put him in a lab and like test him. You know what I mean? I just find it so interesting.
Yeah, he's definitely special.
So you're asking what the next move?
The next move to take your music to the next level, what do you think it is?
Oh man, I mean, does anybody... I feel like probably like, you know, in the age of like the algorithm and having to, you know, do a song and dance for your song to become like a popular thing, it's definitely just like social media promotion and just content curation, you know, posting. I don't want to post about music 3 times a day personally, because that's like how you post 3 TikToks a day or whatever for like every day, like 1 TikTok a day, other days 2, 3. I don't really want to do that, but that's like how people get heard. You know what I mean? What I love about like making music is stuff like, you know, outside of music itself is making videos to promote it, you know, coming out with merchandise, doing a press run, like coming onto this podcast and like talking out with you and just doing an interview, meeting people, having an opportunity to create as a vessel. But like a lot of the whole thing now is that like you just have to put the front camera on and like have the text like, I'm really upset about my ex and this is my song, like whatever, you know, like
you just do it your way though, you know.
I think
but the internet is the best way. Social media is free advertising.
I know, and I'm like, this is like the 3rd podcast I've complained about marketing on. So I'm sorry if you're like tuning in for me to say something different, but like, what I will give it credit for is that like in the age of like TikTok and like Instagram Reels is like having a creative way to market your music.
Absolutely,
is so fire. Like
do it in a way that you like it.
Yeah. Do you know who Connor Price is? He's like this kid. He's not a kid. He's like a father. But like he makes music. He kind of looks like Yorma Taccone from Lonely Island. It's just like a random thought I have. But he like does this skit stuff where he's like in a studio recording himself, but he's playing multiple characters, and it'll be like, oh, like, I wanted to make the song, but I don't have a banjo. And then like some guy will come in with a banjo and then he'll just start playing it. I'm not explaining it very well, but his method, I don't really like his music much, but like his method of creation is so like good. Like he like sells out shows now. He sells out clubs. Like he's on tour like right now doing all this stuff because he just like makes these like creative little skits that I actually think are like fun to watch. I like artists that like,
he makes the beat from scratch on camera? Is that what he does?
No, it's more like he has a song, like, let's say he has a final mixed and mastered song, right? He will like promote the song as if he's making it for the first time. You know what I mean? And like he'll have characters doing bits, like he'll pretty much play like every character and he'll like start the song. Like I'll send it to you after this. It's like pretty cool, but like he'll just pretty much like, oh, this is how this song was made or whatever, but like in a funny way, you know what I mean? Like it's like that, yeah. Oh, there's a guy that comes out with a violin, which is just not what happened. A guy sent him a beat that had a violin in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just admire creators who are able to like make something original out of the whole kind of, you know, for lack of a better word, sort of like shilling yourself out to like promote your art, you know, instead of just having the front camera on and being like, man, I'm really depressed about my ex-girlfriend. Here's my new song. Go stream it so I can rub it in her face or something. You know, like, I don't know. I'm just like a world star complainer, I guess.
How'd you meet Cash Star Genesis?
I haven't even met him yet, dude.
No
Like,
way.
yeah, I haven't met him in person. So like for anybody who doesn't know, like I like found out about this wonderful studio that Franjez has got for himself
The Yonkers
here.
studio. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's first of all very unbelievably convenient location. If you are an artist from here, you got to tap in because this is like just off a highway. I'm not gonna dox him and tell you where it is, but like. It's so convenient. It's really a good.
Plenty of street parking. Come through.
It's a beautiful thing, man. But so I don't even know how I got in tune with Cash's music. I think he just followed me one day, and I followed him back, and he had like 1,000, like not 1,000. I'm jacking it, but like he had a lot of songs like out in videos. And like
J.R. Gretzky.
Yeah, there's J.R. Gretzky. I get the names mixed up.
Long hair.
Yeah, with the long hair, I like that kid, man.
Yeah.
He's mad cool. I like that dude.
Yep.
I haven't really met or talked to Lou, who was also on this show.
Yeah.
He's like the Hispanic kid, right? That dude.
He's the beat maker.
He's the producer. His beats are like crazy.
Yeah.
Like I'm like surprised. I remember I told Gretzky like you like remind me of Young Lean a little bit. Like your music reminds me of like Young Lean.
Yeah, I can see that.
But what I thought was so interesting about that interview you did with him was like that was my first time like getting to know them. They just put it on YouTube, and I was like, I'm about to like hang out at the crib. I just got off work. I'm gonna watch this, just see what's going on. And like they were talking about watching like Bad Lieutenant by Abel Ferrara with Harvey Keitel in the studio. First of all, it's like a great movie, but I'm like, dude, these kids are like 20, right? Like. That's so cool. They were like, oh yeah, like I like Bad Lieutenant, and like I was talking to Gretzky. He's like, yeah, I love Kinds of Kindness, like Yorgos Lanthimos. I'm like, yo, you make like Young Lean music, but you like really like movies too. Like he reminds me of me, sort of. You know what I mean? So like, I like really just admire the drive they have, and like it's just also funny that they're so into movies and make like music like that. Like it's really good, and like I really hope at the drive and ambition they're at, they're definitely destined for a good following.
Absolutely.
Destined for, they're doing like festivals like the Cash Star Fest and all that.
Yeah, I recorded. I went to the one in Brooklyn.
I saw that one.
Yeah,
I watched it after I watched that video. I watched that one. I'm like, damn, this guy's everywhere. All of the time, and I love that. I love that, man.
Oh yeah, they're great.
I was talking to Cash, Gretzky today, and he was like, I love the Stevie Wonder song I was telling you about. He was like, dude, the song's like beautiful. I was like, thanks, man. And
nice.
It was really cool.
What religion you practiced during your childhood?
Well, ooh, I think I was raised sort of not that religious. I don't really dog religion. Like, I don't hate it. I don't, some things happen to the world because of it, but, it's neither here nor there. I think technically I'm Jewish because both of my grandmothers are Jewish. I think that's how it works. I'm not sure.
I think that's how it works.
I think that's how it works. I don't go around saying I'm Jewish anymore, so if I'm not Jewish, I'm so sorry. If you practice Judaism and I'm not correct, I'm so sorry. But I don't practice religion actively. My parents raised me pretty, like, I think my dad's dad was pretty Catholic. Like, we didn't really talk about it. Like, I had a copy of the Bible when I was younger, but that was like because I like wanted to read it.
Really?
I just because it was like one of those copies. It was like the copy of the Bible they sell at the church that like you give your kid like when you're very young, and it's like an illustrated. They just take out the important parts, like this is God, this is Adam, this is Eve, and there were just like cool art, like there was art in it. So I was just like, it was like a picture book, and I was like, oh wow, Adam and Eve. This is a crazy story. I wonder if like did this really happen? And my mom was like, yeah, I think so. Like, we don't know like actually, but. And she was like, well, Jesus, I think actually like is real. Like Jesus is real, but like Jesus, Jesus is like a real guy, apparently, allegedly. I don't know that for a fact. It's hard to believe I'm 27. I was not there when Jesus was born. I know I'm 27 years old now. I was not there. If you think I was there, then you got your years wrong. I was born in 1998.
Nobody believes you were there, man.
But you see, these kids will be like, you're 27. how are the dinosaurs in the TikTok comments? You know what I mean? It's like, damn, like what did the
ridiculous.
asteroid do to those dinosaurs when you were there? And I was like, I was not there. I was
insane.
I was born just after the first Marshall Mathers album. That's how I gauge my timing. It's just Marshall Mathers, baby.
That's awesome. You know, I thought the 9/7 in your name was going to be the year you were born. I
Yeah,
came into this thinking that.
a lot of people think that. I was
1 year later. Well, conceived the 9/7, right?
That's what I'm saying. Is like it's 1 year later, but like I didn't want to be like 9/8 PTA because like I just like the way that 9 and 7 written out looks. Like
Sounds
I guess
better.
yeah, like you know, like people like thought at first it was like a take on like a 6ix9ine, Tekashi 6ix9ine or something.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And I was like, I mean, like I guess I'm honored. I guess the song was hot when he was. I was like, I guess I'm honored, but also he's like kind of a weird whatever.
Yeah, nobody really respects.
I don't want to get shot, so like I'm not gonna talk on that. But like, but no, I just thought 9/7 as two words look nice together. PTA is just I didn't want to just have 9/7 because there's like a lot of artists named 9/7.
I bet, yeah.
Like out in the world because 97 is like a pretty popular year to reference, you know. Like, I don't know. I don't really watch basketball, but I'm going to assume there was some cool stuff that happened in 97.
A lot of good music. That's when Eminem dropped.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
97 was a good one.
Good year,
But
man.
97 PTA,
I was not
it's
there.
a great name.
I was not there, but I'm assuming it was a good year.
How about God? You believe in God or spirituality or anything?
I guess I would identify as I'm of the sort of like agnostic route where like I don't refute the possibility that there is a higher power bigger than me and bigger than you. You know what I mean? I am not. If one is to choose to believe in God, I absolutely think if that is what gives you your life, like, you know, purpose or like you have something to fall back on, I absolutely think that you should give your life the purpose and follow whatever it is that makes you feel like, you know, gives you, you know, faith and drive in life to be a good person. I think religion does great things for some people, and you know, in other people it's just like life itself, you know, things are circumstantial, it's not so black and white. I think that there could possibly be something bigger than me. I have sort of like a higher power in my life, just, you know, I think that there have been miraculous things that have happened in my life that I cannot take credit for. There's no shot I can take credit for it. Like the fact that I'm like even able to do this and like have a life and like have multiple points of my life that like give me fulfillment, like music, like doing AV related work stuff and like being able to shoot videos and, you know, being an artist that people listen to. It's like I made it happen, but at the same time, like a lot of the things that have happened in my life are just far beyond me. How did it happen? Beats me. But
I like that.
But if you have like a higher power in your life, I totally support it, man.
Absolutely. I like that. Who's the first person you think of when you think of success?
Oh man, I'm taking so long on this, so clearly it's not. I mean,
Second person.
yeah, the second. No. The first person,
No. I'm joking.
I guess I'd say somebody like Leonardo DiCaprio. Honestly, he like. It's hard to be like, you know, like Leonardo DiCaprio and like Timothy Chalamet are like two people I think of because like to come up from like a young age making movies and like being a child actor in Leo's case and then growing up to be not only like, you know, like a teen heartthrob in like your like teenage years or like your late mid-20s years, but like to really become an acclaimed, like, amazing actor. He's a fucking amazing actor.
Leonardo's my favorite. Him and Denzel are my favorites.
That's a great picks. Phenomenal picks. I love that. Like, I look at, like, Leo's life. I mean, this, first of all, I could be completely wrong. There's some things about Leo that we all know, like his dating history, which is a little bit suspect, which is fine. You know, we all make mistakes. You know, it's no matter what you do after. But, like, I do think, like, you know, he's had such a solid career, and he's like barely put out any bad movies, and he, like, every movie that he makes, people are gonna go and watch because he's in it. Like, I think of a life like that. Like, I do have aspirations to be an actor and like aspirations to be in the film world, but also doing music and whatnot. So like kind of like the Donald Glover, Daveed Diggs thing, where like you can do both.
Yep.
Have them be like two separate parts of your life.
100%. Do you have any regrets?
So many, like a
Really?
ton. Absolutely. Like in life in general, absolutely. So many regrets.
Damn.
Yeah, I was a mess up until like 2 years ago, dude.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Mess in what sense?
You know, a lot of like my like substance abuse problems and like because of my substance abuse problems, I would like, you know, I would wrap a lot of people into my world and like sort of be on like the self-destructive path that was like not pivotal to, you know, it was not pivotal towards my life goals, but I was also making music at the time. So I felt like, you know, it was like the Eminem sober thing where like I don't want to get sober because my music's going to be bad. And to be fair, I was making some great music when I was like in active addiction, like super, super great music. But it wasn't worth hurting like girlfriends. It wasn't worth hurting like
Yourself.
romantic prospects, myself in general, the people I love, my family. I was getting into like legal trouble over it. And like, there's even stuff like in my life, you know, like from like last year that I kind of regret. And but like the thing is like I can't harbor it all the time and I can't feel sadness about it all the time because then like, how are you supposed to grow if you don't like kind of forgive yourself and just like try to be a better person going forward? You hold yourself accountable in the moment, but then once you hold yourself accountable, you think, okay, so I've held myself accountable. What can I do next so that this won't happen again and that I won't have to feel terrible about the person that I am right now, like 5 years into the future? You know what I mean? Just how do you like live to make amends with yourself and, you know, if you need to, the people around you?
With yourself, you just got to work through it.
Absolutely.
Definitely got to work through it.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable sharing your choice of poison, as they say?
Yeah, I was like a heavy alcoholic and like coke addict pretty much like 2021 to like, you know, I say addict, but like like I wasn't doing coke like every day, but I was doing like way more than a person should be, like way more. Like I was doing it like
I saw that video. You enjoyed doing that video.
the cocaine video.
I can tell you enjoyed making it.
Oh my fucking God, dude. I've never been on a podcast where somebody brought up the cocaine music video. This guy, first of all, this guy did his research. Because I'm gonna be so honest with you. I thought I unlisted that video like off. I thought I privated it. I literally thought that I scrubbed that video from the world. But it is still there.
It's thriving. It's
this guy
there.
saw the video. That's crazy. You know what? I will say the cocaine video, as much as I kind of regret that song and that video, music visually that was like the beginning of like me feeling like I was actually like a filmmaker because like that like felt like such a beginning to end plot line with like splits and like there was like rising action, release, all of that stuff. That was a very important video for me, even though I sort of wish I never made that song or that video for like a myriad of reasons. But womp womp, we're here, I'm alive, I live to tell the tale.
Amazing. Amazing.
So yeah, pretty much like coke every if not every weekend, every other weekend. I was like buying it on my free time. I was in the studio, like in my like room, making music and doing coke and drinking, and it was just like, you know, like bouts of infidelity off drugs and alcohol and all that. And I was just like, at a point, I was like, I was doing more harm to the people around me than probably the same amount that I was doing to myself. But I felt the pain of what I was doing to others more than what I was doing to myself, which I could make an empath joke right now, be like, you see guys, I'm an empath. So I don't care about what I do to myself, but if I do something to you, I feel it. Truly. So, I'm an empath, and I stopped doing coke and drinking because I'm an empath. Also, I'm 6'1" and I'm single. So like, you know, I can dunk. I have a 1,000 credit score. I have stock in in Bitcoin or whatever, and I'm single, and I go to the gym every day, man.
There you go. I like that. Hell of an ad. I love it.
Nothing I just said was true, by the way. That was all a lie. I'm like 5'9". Sorry. I wear these stinking boots to make my height. You know.
Oh, man. Outside of the music, what are your overall life goals?
Life goals, man. You know, I had very different aspirations when I was younger. I really wanted. Well, I still, I obviously being famous would be kind of cool, and being able to make music and be an actor and be famous would be cool. If it doesn't happen, I'm all right with that. Like, it's like I just like making more than I do, like, following through on it. Like, I think if I'm able to make music, release it, send beats to people, and then, I want to be a business owner, or like a an AV, like sort of like the rig you have here set up. Like, I've sort of been, I want to have like 5+ years or something in the AV industry, and like start to be able to do things like head shows and do A1, V1, L1 stuff. That's like basically like head of audio, video, and lighting, and like have a business where I could do that. I'm like sort of in the beginning stages of starting an AV or sound company, like by myself. I don't have an official name, but I'm like working on getting the equipment, working on doing all that, and hopefully that can delve more into a production company in general. Making videos, having a studio space, like letting people record, letting people do whatever they got to do, man. And just to be able to do what I do now and have wonderful friends and have wonderful opportunities to meet new people like you. And that's a successful life in my book, man.
I like it.
Yeah.
Just doing what you love.
That's exactly it, man.
Just do it until you
And
don't
being
love it no more.
financially sound too, and not having to check my bank account if I like go out with friends and like hang out. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to regret my financial decisions. So I had really bad fiscal irresponsibility for like the past 4 years of my life. So I've been doing enough in my life currently to like not have that happen, and I'm like chilling now, which is beautiful.
Feels good.
Feels fantastic. I said it was my last year being broke.
There you go.
For 3 years straight.
This is the fourth year, 2025?
This is the fourth year, and I mean it this time.
Good.
This time I mean it.
4 months in.
See you
doing
guys in
good?
2026 where I say, no. This is my last year being broke. This is it.
I like that. This is it. Michael Jackson's last show was called This Is It.
That's right. I think they had the album and the movie, right?
I think there was.
Yeah, I never saw the movie.
Oh, it came out? I don't think, did it?
Did it come out?
I don't think so.
I'm
I
not-
think the movie was going to be the tour. Wasn't it? Something like that?
Did he die before the tour?
Yeah. As he was producing it and rehearsing and getting ready to go, they had the dates scheduled and everything. I think it was sold out already.
That's a travesty.
It really is.
That's tough.
That would have been sick.
Yeah. He has that last album they put out before he died. I forget what the song is called, but it had like a trap beat on it. Do you know that song? It has like the... Fuck, I'm gonna find it real quick. But
he was into all types of music.
Yeah, I just remember like hearing that song because it went viral on TikTok, and that was like what made me think like, all right, Mike might be like the best ever, dude.
Hell yeah.
He was like what, like 60 cutting up with Chicago is the name of the song.
Okay.
Chicago. It was off the I think this might have been a posthumous release. This is Discovery, is it called? I don't know. Escape. This has Love Never Felt So Good. It has Justin Timberlake remix on it. But Mike was really like, he was cutting up with Pharrell, man. All those Justified beats on the Justin Timberlake album were supposed to be for Mike.
Wow, that's sick.
And Mike was like, no, Pharrell. And then Justin Timberlake was like, well, if nobody's going to do it, then what was the Neptunes beats? It wasn't just Pharrell. It was Pharrell and Chad Hugo, who people don't give nearly enough credit to.
I always forget his name because he was more the not,
He
showing
wasn't the
his face
star.
like that. Yeah,
He wasn't the star, but Pharrell, like...
fashion. He wanted to be seen.
Yeah, exactly. He was up front of all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're nearing the end of the podcast. If you could please let the people know where they could find you, anything you have coming up that you want them to tune into, and any last advice.
Awesome. Yeah, man. So my name is Justin. I go by 9 PTA. I'm firstly very honored to be here on the Talk About It with Franjez. Again, convenient location. Tap in with him. I just released a project called 27 Club. It's a sprawling soundscape of like what I love about music in 10 songs. A lot of it is all over the place. I hope you listen to it. It's on all streaming platforms. Artist named 9-7 PTA, like the word 9, word 7, PTA, P capital, lowercase TA. That doesn't matter. You can follow me on all social medias at 9-7 PTA. And then linktree.com/97PTA Lost to see all my videos, merch, music. There'll be links to that somewhere, probably in the description, I would assume. Yeah. And all I can say is that I hope you're happy where you are, and I hope life is good for you, and I'm very happy to be here, and, you know, Godspeed, you know?
Amazing. Happy belated birthday again. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you so much, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
it was
it.
great. It was great. And thank you to everybody that watched. Peace and love.
Peace.